Passengers on the Bus by me, Dr. Jess McCloskey. In Passengers on the Bus, you can think of your life as being like a bus. Your bus will take you places, you will go on a journey. Your entire life is in that bus. And you, of course, are the driver of that bus. You get to decide where you go, when you go, how fast you go. But you're not alone on that bus. You have, through your life, picked up passengers. The thoughts, the experiences, the emotions, the ways of understanding who you are, carry along with you on that bus. This passenger might be the voice of your mother, always a little bit critical, not sure you're doing the right thing. Passenger might be the idea of what it is to be a professional, a proper lady or gentleman. It might be the passenger of an old teacher who didn't quite believe that you'd be able to do what you want. Or just a sort of scared childlike part of you that wants you to stay safe and is worried that you're going to do things that aren't safe. Whatever the passengers are, whatever the experiences you've picked up, they come along with you. And these passengers will try to influence the direction you take your bus. So when you find yourself trying to decide whether you're going to take a path towards meaningful action, towards doing things that matter to you, or staying in the same old thing, the same old route, the same old path, your passengers can sometimes show up, try to convince you of what you should do. That might be that idea that your mother has given you of what's okay for you to do and what you shouldn't do, or that idea of what is proper or okay for you to do, or the idea of what you can do, what aren't you capable of doing. Maybe you shouldn't do something because you're afraid that you'll embarrass yourself. Or just that feeling of, it wouldn't be safe for me to try something new. Maybe I shouldn't do it. All of your passengers will have an opinion, and they will be trying to help you. All of us have experience in our lives that have tried to lead us to thinking through what's the best way for me to be. But this feeling of fighting, of arguing with our passengers, can cause us an awful lot of distress. There we are trying to find a way to move forward into a meaningful action, into something that feels important to us. But we'll have experiences, thoughts, feelings that will be trying to say to us, don't do it. They'll be saying to us, maybe you can't do it. Maybe you just aren't capable. That might show up as that old, familiar feeling of people who didn't believe in you, and they sound like they're giving you good advice. But what they're really saying to you is, maybe you should just wait. Maybe you aren't quite ready for it. Those passengers might show up and saying to you, it's safer for you to just keep doing what you've always been doing. Maybe it's not full of meaning for you, but it's okay. Those passengers might show up and just say to you, maybe it doesn't even matter. Maybe it's silly. Maybe there's no reason for you to try and do this next important thing. If you get caught up with trying to argue with those passengers, you can find yourself using up all of your energy. If you find yourself trying to agree with them, making a deal with them, you can find yourself being pulled in directions that weren't really where you wanted to go. So what we think about with this metaphor is whether there isn't a way to do it a little bit differently. To instead choose the direction of travel we want our bus to go. To choose that path where we say, that's the direction of a meaningful life. And once we've discovered that path, once we've identified our values, choosing to go down that path towards a meaningful life anyway, regardless of those passengers. We don't need to get rid of them. We don't need to fight them. We don't need to best them. We don't even need to get them to agree with us. We can make them smaller. We can make them a little bit less important. We can still hear what they're saying to us. We're not giving up that aspect of ourselves. We're not moving away from our past experiences, the things that had meaning to us at a previous point in our life. But we're making them smaller. We're saying, come along with me, but I'm going to determine the direction that I go. I can bring that scared child part of myself, that nagging mother, that disbelieving teacher, that idea of what a proper lady or gentleman should do, and I can put them in my pocket. I can put them in a little wagon, and I can carry them along with me. The driver of the bus decides which way to go. So what do you need to remember from this idea of passengers on the bus is, you can think of your life as being like a bus. You are the driver. But you aren't alone on that bus. And it's important to remember that some of your passengers will sound like you, but they are just passengers. They're the passengers that you've picked up along the way. And if you get caught up with wanting to fight those thoughts, those feelings, those experiences, those passengers, or waiting for them to suddenly leave you alone, or actually taking their advice, waiting, changing directions, you might find that you're missing out on some of the chances that will present themselves to you to take a path towards more meaningful action and a more valued life. Instead, what we're suggesting is that you can learn to carry those passengers with you. You don't need to get rid of them. You don't need to change their ways. You don't need to fight them. You can carry them with you, but continue making valued, meaningful actions in your life. And that's Passengers on the Bus.